What's going on, guys? It's Crazy Dog here, and in today's quick little video, we're going to go over kind of the success and the failures when it came to the software update that I received from Hisense for the Hisense U8G or U88G. Now, I had actually recorded the entire process of putting the update on the TV, seeing the before and the after in a couple of games, but unfortunately I tried to record it on my iPhone because I wanted to have it in 60 frames HDR. I did not lock the exposure and the footage is just terrible. So we ended up scrapping that footage. The downfall is the footage was also deleted after I had rolled back the TV. So this is just a verbal information session, something pretty quick to let you guys know exactly what had happened. Now, the TLDR is this software update, which I'm gonna label somewhere on the screen here. Hisense sent this out to correct the vertical resolution issues that people are experiencing in 4K 120 Hertz. And I can conclusively say that, at least in my opinion, it looks like this software update is correcting this concern. I had not really seen a big change per se until I had rolled back the software to the current public release. So I noticed a huge difference in the previous software and that beta software when I ran that for the day, because when I scaled back, I could see just exactly how cloudy and foggy and blurry the current public release is in 4K 120 Hertz, especially in content on the PS5. And I think that's just because the PS5 renders out in like Chroma 422 or 420. So you can really notice that difference in quality. Specifically in Call of Duty Vanguard, I noticed that the faces are very blurry on the public release compared to that beta release that I tested for the day. Now, the downfall is, even though it's fixing the vertical resolution lines, it actually killed both the auto low latency, the CEC support, and the variable refresh rate. Now, if you don't care about that stuff, then I guess this update could be for you. From what I've heard, I think 5 or 6 of us in Canada have the software. In some of the previous videos as well, I actually talked to some users in the US that have the U8G specifically, that have had access to the software, and it seems to be a mixed bag. So some people are saying the software works perfectly fine, others are saying that they received the same results as myself, and I can only assume that maybe those that are saying that everything's working perfectly fine may not have been testing all of the extra things. So with the PS5 again specifically, there's no variable refresh rate to test, so maybe they're not under the understanding that that's not working. But the reason why I scaled back, because at the end of the day, maybe if you only have a PS5, it's like not a big deal. You could use this beta software and everything's gonna look fine because there's no VRR or variable refresh rate on that console at all. But for me, variable refresh rate is actually very important. I game a lot on my PS5 and a little bit more on my Xbox, and variable refresh rate in modern titles really makes a big difference when it comes to the overall experience and the smoothness. So having the update kill the variable refresh rate really just not sit well with me at all. It's a feature that I feel like I've paid for in this TV and in some of my next gen content, so it's something that I want retained. Now, the other thing that we talked about before being killed would be the auto low latency mode, or the ALLM. And again, if you're just the type of person that games on this TV, or maybe some of those testers out there that were just experiencing content, let's say on a PS5, this might not have mattered to them, especially if you use just like locked in game mode at all times. I have an AVR receiver and I have my Xbox, my PlayStation, and my Apple TV for my entertainment. And ALLM, or auto low latency, is very important to me, because the last thing I want to do is have to reconfigure my picture profiles every time I want to do something different. So as it stands now on just the current public release, if I load up one of my gaming consoles, it says that it's going into auto low latency mode or into game mode. It switches my input, it dials everything down to make sure that I'm experiencing the lowest delay or latency that I can possibly have, and then away it goes. But the second that I turn on my Apple TV, it's going to go ahead and it's going to self-identify that I'm watching content. It's going to put that into my picture profiles that I have preset for enjoying the highest fidelity that I can get, because latency doesn't really matter that much anyway when it comes to watching content versus playing content. So auto low latency was also very, very important for me. And then the CEC, we all know that CEC is just a mixed bag to begin with. I've had issues and I've got videos on the channel about how my AVI receivers, like at times racking back and forth between all my various inputs. I had tested with 3 full power cycles of everything in my media center, just tripping the actual power bar, because sometimes that reinitiates that handshake with CEC. And with the beta version of the software, it would not stay on one input. Like, I had tried to switch inputs and have it lock onto an input for probably close to 20 minutes. And it wouldn't even go to an input to the point that you would see content. It actually just went one after the other: Xbox, PlayStation, Apple TV, Xbox, PlayStation, Apple TV, Xbox, PlayStation, Apple TV. It would not show me any content. I had to actually turn off the CEC on the TV, and that stopped it. So I know it wasn't the receiver, it was some weird handshake issue with the new software where the TV was rolling and scrolling those inputs through CEC. And I like CEC. I know other people don't, and I know there's naysayers out there saying that the best thing you could do is turn it off and get a Harmony remote, but I like just being able to, let's say, hold down the power button on my Xbox controller or on my PlayStation controller, and it switches the inputs, and then I can grab either the AV remote, the TV remote, or the Apple TV remote to do the volume. Like, CEC has tangible use cases for me. So between the CEC, the auto low latency, and the variable refresh rate all not functioning on this public update or on this beta update, that's why I rolled back to the public release. And like I said, I didn't think I saw a huge difference going from public to beta until I went back from beta to public. And that's where I can really see that throughout my day of testing, it did fix the vertical refresh rate. Now, I don't have an RTX GPU to test the font and test patterns and stuff like that, but just using my eyes and playing some games, I think I tested 5 different games in that video where the footage just unfortunately did not work out in my favor, I could notice a huge difference. Subtle details in eyes, in flesh tones, different things like that. It was all a tangible increase. Now, there are, again, some people out there saying that the MediaTek chipset just can't get any better in this TV, and that maybe this update is just producing over sharpening. But when I got close and I looked at it, there was no fringing that you're going to get in just over sharpening. I do honestly believe that it is fixing that vertical resolution. My worry is that because it has just a smaller amount of limited bandwidth compared to some other panels or some other devices, that maybe that bandwidth is allowing the resolution to work, but maybe disabling some of those other features that we talked about that really require that extra little bit of oomph and that extra little bit of bandwidth to function properly. So for me, for my overall experience and what I do on my TV, I've rolled back to the public beta. Or the public software. I've debated doing another video to actually show you guys where I install it again and use this camera and lock my exposure and all the things that I normally do on TV reviews. But you have to understand, at the end of the day, every single time I apply this update, it factory resets the TV. So to factory reset the TV, apply the update, which takes probably about 45 minutes to sometimes an hour, dial in the settings, do the testing, just to then again factory reset the TV to apply the previous software that is publicly available. It's a lot of work, and I think that I can just audibly tell you guys that the experience was less than favorable. So it does work for the vertical resolution, and I think a lot of people will be satisfied with that, especially for those of you who are using it primarily as a TV monitor, a computer monitor, or just specifically 110% of the time for games. But not having everything working really worries me. The light at the end of the tunnel is, again, this is a beta update. This is not public. There's testers out there, and understandably, Hisense may not have all of these gaming consoles and things like that to fully test everything. So when they did this rollout, or kind of engineered this update, their main concern was looking, of course, at the vertical resolution, which looks to be fixed. Now it's up to testers like myself. There's, again, a lot of people in the States. I think there's probably, I would say 5 or 6 people that I've talked to. Rumor is there's about a dozen. I think there's 5 or 6 of us in Canada, that, including myself, that all have this update, and we're all reporting the findings. In the US, I heard the update is going to be greenlit if it's fixed. April, I think, was the date, and I had heard from the R&D team in Canada that they're shooting for as early as January. So I'll keep you guys posted when I know more as well. But for right now, again, the end of the day, I'm not leaving the software on my TV. It just ruins the overall experience with everything else that makes this TV great. I am perfectly fine with a little tiny bit of resolution loss on kind of the vertical aspects, so things being slightly softer in 4K 120, because at the end of the day, I'm really just playing like Call of Duty and Halo and a couple of games at the 120. And for me, I get so sucked into that gaming experience that I don't notice the quality loss that much once I get into the title, but I really need all of that other stuff to function for when I watch this for just a regular multimedia experience, or when I'm using the Apple TV, when I'm using everything that makes this TV so great for the visuals and the entertainment, aside from the gaming features. But that's gonna wrap it up for today's video. Again, just a little audible update. I know I made you guys wait probably a little bit longer than I should have. Christmas was pretty crazy, and I work retail. So Boxing Week after Christmas is definitely a crazy time. This is my first day off, and here is the update. So if you like this video, go ahead and leave a like down below. Leave me a comment as well. If you guys have any questions about this, keep an eye on the comments here, as well as other Hisense specific videos as well when it comes to this TV and this update, because the community along the way has been absolutely fantastic. And there are some people that are keeping track of these videos and interacting with the entire community that also have firsthand experience with this update. So don't just take my word on it. Go ahead, jump in the comments and interact with each other, because there's other people out there testing this. And if you have questions that maybe I can't get to, or that I can't test, go ahead and ask them there, and somebody else may answer it. But until my next video, my name is Crazy Dog. You guys have been awesome, and we'll catch you all in the next one. Take care.